What is up, everyone? OG over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to the PE Nintendo Switch and Gaming News video. Today, we have some awesome information for you guys, like always, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The Nintendo of Canada rep says that Metroid Prime Federation Force got a bad rap and stands by the quality of the game. Now, as many of you guys know, Metroid Prime Federation Force was not received very highly by fans. The game was pretty much destroyed on site as soon as it was revealed that the blast ball and all of that was basically a Metroid game. And I think that a lot of it had to come that Metroid was on like a big hiatus, but we'll talk about that at the end. But let's go ahead and get into what Nintendo of Canada Communications Manager Andrew Collins had to say to Electric Playground about the game. Quote, "It was a great package. You had Blast Ball, which was this really interesting 3-player sci-fi football. Then you also had Federation Force, a separate game itself, which was this 4-player bounty hunter game. And it's a shame because it didn't feature Samus. Fans were very, very critical. Samus appears a tiny bit much later into the game, and so because of that, it was seen, we don't want this version, get rid of it, and give us the one that we want." And it's unfortunate for Federation Force because it got a bad rap. It wasn't the game which people felt it was. And that's the thing about this. It's not like Federation Force was just like a super horrible game. I mean, I personally played it. I don't like the style of it, to be honest. It wasn't completely horrible, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was like amazing or this great package that lives up to the Metroid name. I don't think it was that good. I think, like, for example, Metroid Samus Returns. That is an amazing game. People love that game, and I think that's better than Federation Force. But I think the biggest problem is that when Samus goes on this huge hiatus, we don't get any new games from the Metroid franchise, and then all of a sudden, oh, we do get a Metroid game, but this is what you're giving us. That's the problem. It wasn't just because it was no Samus. It was because there hasn't been a good Metroid game in a long time. The last one was Metroid Other M, and fans went berserk over that game as well, and that had Samus in the game, you know. So I don't think necessarily it was because there was no Samus. It was because of the style of the game, the look of the game. It wasn't Metroid, and a lot of people thought that it was some other type of game, and they basically slapped the Metroid brand on it to try to sell it more, and it completely backfired in their face. So I think that's the biggest problem, because like you can have a Metroid game with Samus and people not like it. Metroid Other M is a perfect example of that, but the problem is just the gap in between like an actual real Metroid game and what you actually give us. So that was the biggest problem. And I think the art style, maybe if the art style was better, or maybe if it was for the Wii U and it had a normal Metroid Prime or Metroid art style, then okay, but it was chibi-ified, it looked weird, and yeah, it was online multiplayer, the co-op. I'm not sure if people wanted that, and it kind of looked worse than Hunters in some ways, not technically, but just like from an art style perspective, and Hunters came out like over a decade ago or something like that. So those were the issues with the game, but that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Alright, and moving into the next article here, we have some more information on the Nintendo Switch's dominance and Nintendo's dominance in Canada when it comes to sales, because I talked about this before, but I wanted to get into a little bit more because we do have some more information. And the Nintendo Switch was Canada's #1 best-selling console for 2017. Nintendo platforms dominated in September. And shout outs to Go Nintendo for the article. So Nintendo is having a fantastic year all over the world. That is obviously true. And this includes Canada. Turns out that the Nintendo Switch is doing big business over there to our neighbors up north. And according to Pierre-Paul Trepanier, is it Trepanier? I might have said that wrong. Sorry about that, Pierre-Paul. Nintendo of Canada General Manager. Quote, "It's definitely been a complete change of fortune and direction from a business perspective for Nintendo. We have had a lot of gaming experiences that have succeeded in the essence of making people smile. At the heart of it, it is a very simple universal game mechanics that any kid or kid of heart can jump and enjoy. That any kid or kid at heart can jump in and enjoy. In any universe, the launch of a new Mario is a big game. The launch of a Zelda game is even a bigger deal. We've had 2 in a launch year, so yes, that was a strategically critical decision to build these 2 pillars. That momentum and the demand for the platform have resulted in third parties saying, I'll make some games for this too. Now in Canada, the Nintendo Switch has been #1 selling console in 2017. I talked about this before, but it sold over 209,000 units. The Nintendo Switch was closely followed by the PlayStation 4, which has sold 205,000 units for the year For September alone, 73% of the console sales in Canada were Nintendo products, making for a total of 115,000 units split between the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 3DS, and the Super NES Classic. So this is definitely good for Canada. Obviously, it's good to see the sales go up and a reverse of fortune, like they said. Apparently, they've probably been getting drummed pretty badly. The Wii U, pretty much the Wii U's getting drummed everywhere, except for like Japan when it comes to the other systems. But the Wii U pretty much got drummed all throughout the generation when it comes to things, so it's definitely good to see Nintendo kind of come back in Canada and have a strong performance as far as for their business up there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else that we see. You noted that third-party developers have said, hey, we're going to start making some games as well, and I think that's important, and that's the whole reason why I've been saying for quite some time that sales matter, that Nintendo wanted to make sure that the first-party support was top tier, was top quality, because they knew that a lot of people weren't going to develop for this Nintendo Switch because it wasn't a PS4 clone, because the Wii U didn't sell as well, because third-party games didn't sell as well. You're going to have to prove yourself that there's going to be a base of users there, and that's why Nintendo went so hard with first-party content in order to raise that install base, and then they're going to go ahead and get certain third-party developers like Bethesda to develop on the system no matter what, but then also the other developers will jump on once they see the success of the system. That's the most important thing. Third-party games are not going to sell a Nintendo product from the very beginning, because third-party products are available on every other system, and a lot of times they run better on other systems. So third-party games at the beginning are never going to sell a Nintendo system for the most part. You need great first-party software in order to get the Nintendo fans, the hardcore dudes, to buy the system, and then third-party games will be bought afterwards or will be bought during. You better have that Zelda, you better have that Mario, you better have Splatoon, and you better have that first-party content, or you're not going to get those sales that you want to entice third-party developers. So the strategy, like I said, that they were going to do multiple times, they're definitely executing that, and you're seeing more third-party developers jump in because the Nintendo Switch is selling so well, because of the amazing marketing, the gimmick of the system, or the hook of the system, and because of the first party, now the third party's coming in, and those games are selling well too. So well-executed plan, and of course Nintendo of Canada pretty much just said that right there as far as what their plan and their decision was, and it's paid off for them. So what do you guys think about the Canadian sales for the Nintendo Switch? Now we've got a little bit more information and some insight from Mr. Pierre Paul here. Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the last article here, Project Octopath Traveler, we do have results on the early feedback that Square Enix was looking for. So shout outs to Nintendo Everything for the article. And after the latest Nintendo Direct, a demo for Project Octopath Traveler went up on the Switch eShop. Square Enix then asked those players who played the trial to provide feedback in a survey. A Nintendo Switch news notice went out this week with the interim results for the survey. It will be open for one more week since the notice was sent on the Japanese channel. We assume that the early results are based on the responses from Japan, but that's not officially confirmed. Now, in any case, the notice has the following results information. Which route did you play in the demo? 63% said both, 19% said Primrose only, 18% said Olberic only. If you were to rate the game on a 5-star scale, how many stars would you give? 32% said 5 stars, 53% said 4 stars, 12% said 3 stars, 2% said 2 stars, and 1%, who's definitely a super troll Maximus, said 1 star. Some of the feedback users wrote for the survey are as follows as well. They wish the movement speed could be faster, which I agree with. Some parts of the map were hard to see, which I also agree with. Hope for a feature to skip events, which I think Square Enix would do anyway. The menu is a bit inconvenient, maybe criticizing the UI quality. Not so sure about that. I mean, I guess it could be better. Could the text be a bit bigger? I can see that, definitely. And making battles more interesting. And I can understand that, considering that most of the battles are just one versus the rest of the enemies. But I think that once you add in the actual, like, more skills that you can get, that you can go past the level cap of 15 and more party members into your crew, I think that's what's going to make the battles more interesting. That was just a small slice, but I can definitely see what they're talking about here as far as the feedback. Now, finally, the post specifies that the development team will work harder to make the game even more enjoyable to everyone, including addressing the aforementioned feedback. So this is actually great news, and I'm really happy that Nintendo actually sent this out to the Switch newsfeed, getting those results directly to Switch owners who participated in those surveys and everything. So I have to agree with a lot of this feedback. All this stuff could be improved upon. I mean, some of this stuff is minor, but at the same time, all the minor things can make a big improvement when you start adding everything up piece by piece. I think some people were talking about some of the graphics and the bloom kind of gets in the way of the battles and what's going on, and I think that they're going to tune all of this. Remember, this is the Bravely Default developers. They know what they're doing, and they're very open to feedback, like they're saying right here. Everyone is open to feedback. They're looking, and they're going to try to make the best game that they can, because when Silicon Studio makes a game, they don't just make a game to make a game. They put a lot of passion and time into it, and you can tell that whenever they make a game, when they get a chance to make a game, because remember, this is like a technology company, Silicon Studio. They're not necessarily a 100% game developer company. They make game engines and stuff like that. So when they actually get funding for a game, they're going to put a lot of passion into it. So I can definitely see Project Octopath Traveler being an amazing experience, all of this stuff being fixed, and it even being way better than what we played in the demo. But that's just my take on it. What do you guys think about this? How would you rate the game? For a demo, I'm definitely going to rate it 5 out of 5 stars. But I can definitely understand people giving it a 4 as far as the stars go, or even a 3. There's definitely some stuff that they can improve, but I feel that overall the package is going to be great once we get the full product in our hands next year. Alright, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon page, pledge any tier, be entered in to win some awesome prizes. Plus, we have Discord voice chat and prize eShop tournaments. And also make sure you check out our brand new YouTube live gaming page and consider sponsoring PlayerEssence. When you do so, it works very much like Twitch, to where you can earn custom themed emotes for the chat and much more. So check out the link in the description below and consider sponsoring PlayerEssence right here on YouTube Gaming Live. Also, make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest Japanese, RPG, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.